Hi folks, I just had a couple of inquiries about hamstring stretching. I just want to show a couple of ideas crossing over a couple of different disciplines that might, everybody's different within their body, and sometimes it's tricky to try and get a little bit of hamstring length, whether you're doing yoga or Pilates, or whether you have a bit of a stubborn hamstring, tendinopathy or trigger points in your hamstrings, or just postural tightness in general, perhaps in the back of the legs. So there's a couple of different ones that I like to take a look at. Before I stretch the hamstring out, I like to just try to get that passive lengthening through the back of the leg, which just teaches us to kind of get that little bit of neural stretch, perhaps, even if you put yourself on a little bit of a raised platform, with the toes just gently raised, and you might feel as you lengthen out the back leg. Let's say if that was in kind of like a walking gait where that back leg would be long, it's just getting used to that hamstring lengthening aspect, because when we do walk, if you see there, as I travel forward, be looking for that back leg to stay straight as I roll off the toe and then pass through. So that would be an idea that or even a strategy in itself, that you would get that length in the hamstring in a walking stride, just teaching your body to actually get kind of some length through it. So that could be that could be one. Another one. So we're looking at the sciatic nerve. I would roll the feet out, because the feet could be tight as well, and just encouraging that little bit of kind of segmental release. So tight feet can have a contributing factor to hamstrings. So kind of a little bit of rolling and stretching the feet. Another one I like is using the fascial rollers, the little handheld rollers such as this with a stick, just to kind of release, just a passive, because I'm off my feet now, so I've got a little bit of kind of position of ease here on the calves and also on the hamstrings themselves. So you can be tighter maybe on the outside hamstrings as opposed to the inside too, and then you can kind of get an idea of where you're tight in that way. Another one is using the band. So if I place it, this is just a flexi band like that, and I can concentrate on just getting that muscle activation there, and you can draw up your toes where you got your foot at the right angle, that little what we call dorsiflexion, so you're getting kind of a little bit of a tensioning there of the leg, and you can get a little bit of an active stretch. If you don't like that one, you can start off with a pointed foot, which brings a little bit more possible recruitment in through the front of the thigh, less of a stretch. Then you can practice point and pull that way. That's just a little sliding effect to get that, teaching those hamstrings to get that little bit of length that way. Then you can bring in a little bit of kind of a dural release, drawing up, flexing the head, drawing the gaze up, pointing the foot, down and up, down and up. So they're quite good for releasing it. Then while on that, I'll just show you another one here. So if you bring the leg forward like that, and you bend down at the hip like you're opening up the hip, you take the hands, you can turn the shoulders in and reach that way. It actually becomes more of a kind of a nerve lengthening, rather than, because if I teach the nerve to lengthen, if I create a platform that I can get the nerve to lengthen, then my muscle fiber is going to be more. I'm going to be more successful about lengthening out my muscle fiber rather than not really addressing the nervous system and just going for a hamstring stretch. So some of those can be quite good. Even sitting on something that way. So you can bend and flex that way. Just if you are acute or if you do have kind of nerve pain, just watch that your force tension isn't too strong on these. You will feel it, and then you can go back into some of that little nerve flossing ones as well. That can be quite good. Those ones. And then your other ones. Or also from a little bend to straighten. That's quite good as well because you don't have any body load on your hamstring there, and then you can bring it in that way. You can play with some of the spinal nerve release that way. So that's a few. And then if you brought it into kind of some of your traditional Pilates, such as a spine stretch forward, lengthening through the back of the neck, softening through the ribs, working the abs and reaching out, and then back in, stacking up tall. A lot of this comes from lengthen, release, soften, pull in, use the breath. And back up. So they're little ones. So there's some ideas of hamstring lengthening. I hope you like those. Thanks for watching.